The Wisconsin Democratic gubernatorial primary may be over, but there are still plenty of questions. Francesca Hong entered primary night as the clear frontrunner in every major poll, but David Crowley pulled ahead and won by less than a half a percentage point. Our Tabitha Bland joining us live in studio now to break down some of those numbers. And Tabitha, you went back and you took a look at a Marquette poll that had Hong up by like double digits over Crowley just a couple of weeks ago. Talk to us about what happened here.
Mark, these numbers really do tell the story. Hong at 38% and Crowley at 7%. But the number in the middle, that's the big one, 34% undecided. 1 in 3 voters still on the fence on the Democratic side. Now, voters showed up in force, nearly 800,000 ballots cast. Compare that to about 530,000 in 2018, the last crowded Democratic primary for governor. Those undecided voters broke for Crowley. So now it's time to look at why the outcome was so different from what those polls showed.
We've had more changes in this primary than I think ever before.
Charles Franklin runs the Marquette Law School poll, and he had Francesca Hong ahead by more than 30 points over David Crowley just weeks before the primary.
Our final poll had Hong at 38%. On the other hand, we had David Crowley at just 7% and 34% undecided.
Political science professor Anthony Chergosky says the massive undecided block was the key.
I would describe Crowley's victory as a stunning political comeback.
The polling also revealing a generational divide. Older voters were unsupportive of Hong, but hadn't landed on anyone else either.
I think we said at the time, this is a reservoir where potentially an alternative to Hong can draw from.
Then came the chaos.
We've never seen an election like this one in Wisconsin or maybe anywhere in the United States.
Mandela Barnes dropped out, so did Crowley and Sarah Rodriguez. Crowley then jumped back in and landed the governor's endorsement.
In our final poll, 36% of Democratic primary voters said that Evers' endorsement made them more likely to vote for Crowley.
Notably and unusually, Hong ran without a single television advertisement.
I think it was a big mistake for her to not run any television ads because it limited her ability to develop her brand to a wide audience.
Something some experts say was among her last-minute mistakes.
I don't think it was helpful for her campaign to do these national media appearances where she opened herself up to scrutiny on issues like Thanksgiving and the police.
Experts saying when a margin is this razor thin and unexpected, the polls can't predict it.
You could point to almost anything and say, aha, this could have tipped the balance in the race.
Now, Franklin says without exit polling data, it will be difficult to pinpoint exactly what moved those undecided voters to Crowley in that final stretch, although Evers' endorsement is likely a large reason for that. Experts say one thing is clear, though. This primary is a textbook case of why those polls are just a snapshot, not necessarily a prediction. Live in studio, Tabitha Bland, WMTV 15 News.